Welcome to the wild and wacky world of corporate jargon, where the more confusing the language, the more critical it sounds. If you've ever found yourself sitting in a meeting, nodding to a torrent of buzzwords and wondering if anyone understands what's being said, you're not alone. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the absurdity of corporate buzzwords, exposing their ridiculousness, and playing a little game of Buzzword Bingo along the way. Let's start with one of the most infamous buzzwords, synergy. It's the golden child of corporate speak, often used to describe how two teams can come together to achieve more than they could alone. But let's be honest, what does it even mean? Most of the time, it's just a fancy way of saying, let's work together. You might as well be saying, let's bake a cake, without getting to the recipe. Next up, we have circle back. This phrase has become a go-to for dodging questions or delaying commitments. It's like saying, I'll think about it, but I don't want to deal with it right now. It sounds diplomatic, but it often just means that nothing will happen anytime soon. How many times have you heard this in a meeting, only to find that the issue has been completely forgotten? It's like a magical spell that makes action disappear. And who could forget the classic low-hanging fruit? This charming phrase is usually used to describe easy tasks or simple wins that require minimal effort. But let's face it, it's a silly image. You're not going to reach for fruit up high on a tree, you're grabbing the easy stuff at eye level. In the corporate world, this means avoiding the real challenges and opting for tasks that make it look like you're getting things done. Now, let's talk about leveraging something. This buzzword has taken on a life of its own, often used to sound innovative or strategic. But here's a thought: what exactly is leveraging? If you're just using resources without a plan, you might as well be tossing darts at a board and hoping for the best. It's time to face the music. If you can't articulate what you're leveraging, maybe it's time to rethink your strategy. Next, we have the phrase thought leader. This term is meant to signify someone who's an expert in their field, but it's been so overused that it's lost its meaning. It often comes off as self-proclaimed and can make anyone sound pretentious. When someone introduces themselves as a thought leader, it's hard not to picture them standing on a soapbox, shouting into the void. Now, let's get interactive. Grab your imaginary buzzword bingo card because it's time to play. Each time you hear a buzzword that's mentioned, mark it down. And if you manage to get 5 in a row, congratulations. You've officially mastered the art of sounding busy without saying anything substantial. As we move forward, let's dive into best practices. This phrase is tossed around in meetings like confetti, but the truth is that what worked for one company might not work for another. Every workplace is unique, and relying on best practices can often stifle creativity and innovation. Just because it worked for someone else doesn't mean it'll work for you. Then there's paradigm shift. This buzzword has become synonymous with change, yet it's used so often that it's lost its punch. It sounds impressive, but at the end of the day, it often means simply doing things differently. Let's just call it what it is, a fancy way to say you're trying something new. Finally, let's wrap things up with value added. This phrase is usually tossed around to justify a new project or initiative, implying it will enhance something. But let's be honest, what does it mean? More often than not, it's just a way to dress up an average idea in a suit and tie. It's time to call out this jargon for what it is, an attempt to make something mundane sound exciting. As we conclude our journey through the labyrinth of corporate buzzwords, remember that it's okay to cut through the jargon and speak plainly. Next time you find yourself in a meeting, take a moment to think about what's being said. Are these buzzwords adding value, or are they just cluttering the conversation? So, as we finish this video, let's make a pact: bring clarity back to our conversations. And if you're guilty of using buzzwords, it's time to detox and embrace straightforward language. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to hit the like button and subscribe for more relatable office humor. What's your favorite buzzword, or which ones drive you crazy? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going.